Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to NS9 Live. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, we have Alex Stumpf and we have Ty Ty. Alex, welcome back. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Hey, nothing like being second best, I guess, on the night, but it is what it is.
Hey, you know what? Yeah, second best of the night on the fourth best Pirates podcast. It's what you could ask for.
I get
You
it.
don't even get a cowboy hat. Like, what are we doing here?
No cowboy hat. That whenever you guys reach 200 episodes, I'll break it out for you guys.
I know, right? Lord, I wish. I'm kind of envious. I wish we were on our 200th episode right now. I feel like we're on our 200th episode since the season started.
Eyeball it. How many episodes do you think you guys have recorded? I mean, this has been 9 years. Right?
Yeah, like in totality, holy shit.
Whatever you would consider,
2,000, 3,000. I don't know how to ballpark it. We've been doing the post game show for now 3 years, so that's 162 a year plus the at least 2 a week. And
whenever we get to 3,000, I'll have the cowboy hat.
You know what? I will research this. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT right now. We'll find out for our 3,000th episode. Cowboy hat.
Okay.
Deal. Love it.
I'm on board.
Jim says that YouTube says we have 1,800 videos, so
we could be for 2,002 then, if that's the case.
We're well beyond that, though.
And yeah, that's just YouTube. We didn't even really start doing YouTube until a few years ago. So yeah. Actually, we were like Twitch before. This is before Tyler's time. We were on Twitch.
Yeah. I remember the Twitch days.
Yeah. Anywho, enough of that.
Yeah, we're psychopaths.
Yeah. So the trade deadline happened, Alex. I'm not sure if you were aware. I'm not sure if you were busy then. But the MLB trade deadline passed, and the Pirates made some moves. Let me catch you up on it. Yeah, they did.
Wow.
The Pirates traded Brian Hayes. Shocking, I know. Also traded David Bednar, Bailey Falter. I wasn't too shocked on that by any means. That, not at all. But some moves happened at the deadline. And so I figured we'd bring you on, and that way you can ask us questions and we can kind of fill you in on some insight and such.
Okay.
That's how this works, right? I mean, 2,000 shows in, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how it works.
Okay. I mean, Bailey Falter wasn't traded for a 28-year-old reliever and like a undrafted free agent in his second pro season, right?
Probably not.
Okay.
I couldn't imagine.
Probably.
I mean, the value is way too much to have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those guys are a dime a dozen, right? Lefty guys with a 2 WAR. Yeah. Under control for like $4 million. Yeah. Awesome.
Right? Yeah. But, I mean, obviously, Tommy Pham, Andrew Heaney, and IKF were traded also, which I'm sure no shock to you.
Yeah.
We can tell you about those deals.
Yeah, we'll talk about those off stream.
Awesome. But no, for real, we do want to bring you on, maybe get a little perception here, some insight. Obviously, I think everyone in the world knew David Bednar was about to get traded. Bailey Falter was certainly shocking. I think maybe would have been most shocking in the sense of, oh my God, it happened though. Maybe Bailey Falter falls in that category also, but also is a different stratosphere, I feel like, with Brian Hayes. I mean, Brian Hayes got traded. I think there was a lot of back and forth of does he even have value? I mean, there's a subset of Pirates fans who think Brian Hayes is just terrible. He's garbage. He's trash. Get him out of here. But it'll never happen because there's nobody who wants him. He's the worst player ever. There's a subset that says Brian Hayes is the best glove out there. Obviously, he is good. He has the value. I fall in line with that. There is value. And I think the trade showed, there's clearly value there. But again, it happened. I was shocked that it happened. You kind of were diving in that there's some smoke here, and reported that is happening, and it did. So maybe give us some insight. Tell us how did that come about, and were you shocked that it happened right now, this deadline?
I first heard about it a week and change beforehand, and I didn't think much of it, but I did pass it along to teammates at MLB.com after I heard it, and they were after a while, from what we gathered, this really picked up smoke. It went from teams talk about players all the time to, okay, this could actually happen, in the days coming up to the the deadline. Like, I think the last 48 hours, a lot came together in that stretch. Hayes was always, in my mind, kind of someone that they would listen to. Like, they didn't want to inherently give him away, but I don't think there's any ambiguity of what Brian Hayes is going to bring to a major league team anymore. He is going to be a Gold Glove caliber defender. There is always going to be a question about the back, is if it could, stay healthy over the course of 162. And the offense is good exit velocities and not a ton of OPS. And the Pirates are at a point. I mean, first of all, Gold Glove defender, 2 WAR. He does have value as a player, and the way his contract was structured, the Pirates had a parachute to get out of that deal. It's a reason why the Reds took the deal with no money from the Pirates. There's a way that if it was structured like a more traditional contract where the bigger years at the end, I don't think that would have been possible. But they did have that opportunity to hit the reset and be like, you know what, we've got Jared Triolo, who's also a Gold Glover. Maybe we could develop the bat a little further there. IKF, another Gold Glover at third base. They had that component of what Brian Hayes internally, and it also frees up money. It gives a different player, whether it's Triolo at third or short or Peguero at shortstop, a chance to prove themselves these last 2 months of the season. It just kind of all came together of this is probably the time to do this.
Okay.
Let's just cut down on the nitty-gritty here. The Pirates are better off without Brian Hayes, in my opinion. The money-wise, I don't see how it works out. The value he brings is very difficult with the way the Pirates are constructed. The defensive value is just not going to be good enough for where the Pirates are headed. In your opinion, do you think this is just best case scenario for the Buccos?
I think it's best case scenario for all 3 parties, the Pirates, the Reds, and Hayes. Like, the Pirates, like I said, we're talking 2-3 WAR player strictly pretty much through the defense, through key. That player has value. But whenever you have the Pirates, who everyone is slugging in the low 700s to the high 500s, you can't do that for every single player. You need to have a masher at some point, and Hayes wasn't going to be that guy. Hayes gets a fresh start. He gets to go to a hitter-friendly ballpark in Cincinnati where they do have some offensive producers, in that lineup. I think this is just a win-win. Maybe he can, do better in a smaller ballpark where left field isn't as cavernous, and get, 10, 15 homers that way and the 600, maybe even 700 OPS to go with it. But it kind of came to the point that I think everyone kind of knew he is not going to reach the potential that they hoped he was going to whenever he signed that contract in 2022.
But also, were you kind of surprised that someone took it? Because it feels like the Pirates have been trying to maybe offload him for a little while, or at least would have been happy to.
This trade deadline was the first time where I heard them seriously talk about trying to trade him. Now, not saying that, there weren't any discussions in the offseason, because there were a lot of discussions that, never just go anywhere. You just talk players and, nothing materializes. But I think with the back and just the question mark that was, they probably would have gotten more at the trade deadline than they would have this past offseason.
Now, with that being said, do you also think just great timing, doing it now? I mean, you could think maybe, history kind of stands that it probably wasn't going to happen, but maybe he finds something in the second half and, the bat comes alive and you can wait for this offseason to do it. Do you think right now the time was the best to strike?
Yeah, I do. For the reasons I said beforehand, you got to find out if Triolo and Peguero are actually going to be parts of this team in 2026. And neither one has gotten a real consistent opportunity for playing time in the major leagues lately. Triolo was up in the majors for most of the year, but he would be starting once, maybe twice a week. It's tough to maintain at bats whenever you don't have that consistent playing time, maintain timing and all the parts that go into that. So I think either giving him a chance to see if he could just be a cheaper version of Hayes where he's got to have a low OPS, but Gold Glove to go with it. If Peguero can show what he's, if this first week back up in the majors is actually, possibly replicate. Like, I'm not saying he's got to have a 900 OPS the rest of the way, but he's looked comfortable up there. It's the best swings I've seen him take in a long time up at the major league level. Can he continue to take those types of swings? You have nothing to lose these last 2 months, the way I view it. And if you give a guy who's a fringe player playing times and the answer is no, guess what? You still got an answer. That is, I think, is a lot more productive than Hayes, which was, you know what you're going to get. It wasn't exactly what the Pirates need right now. The Pirates need a masher, and a corner position like third base is a great position to look at to add this winter.
So he, as you just said, he didn't turn into the masher, or he wasn't the masher that the Pirates need. When we saw him come up, he looked like he was going to be that guy. And then even going back to like 23, he looked like he was on the verge of doing that. Alex, what the hell went wrong here?
Why they fired Nunnally?
What the hell happened?
Oh boy, I'm going to touch on Nunnally there in a second. I mean, the obvious answer is the back is a big part of this equation there. Health is a huge part. He had to change his swing this winter to try to like just stay on the field. And to his credit, he is able to stay on the field now. He has not been, he's been healthy, or as healthy as he can be right now. I don't think it's generating the type of power, and I think the peripherals would support me on that. But since you said Nunnally, because I get this a lot, they go back to 23, where he was the Gold Glove winner, and he had that outstanding, final 4 months of the season, and finished with an OPS plus head above water, and it's like, oh my God, this is the guy we thought Brian Hayes could be. Like a good, not great offensive bat with elite defense. That's a 5-6 WAR type player. And I think just so much stuff got messy, and relationships were hurt over the course of 23 for reasons that I don't think it was Key's fault. I don't think it was the Pirates' fault. It just got ugly. Like the Jon Nunnally stuff bothers me because it was text messages. It was just like basic talks. It is ridiculous to say oh, they fired Nunnally because he fixed Key. First of all, he didn't. Second of all, Nunnally was, basically out the door, well before that, that story dropped anyway. And even if he did, Nunnally had worked with Key in Altoona whenever he was a minor leaguer, in Indianapolis whenever he was a minor leaguer, at the alternate training site in 2020. Every spring training, you think miraculously in like their 6th, 7th year together that they are going to untap everything that he needed to be right then. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. It just doesn't. What was happening was Key and Andy Haynes were making progress behind the scenes in their relationship and the messaging and what both wanted from each other. And then that just kind of got severed in the later part of 2023. And I think that's disappointing because I think they were really on the precipice of something really good there, and just unforced errors kind of got in the way.
A little bit off topic, but kind of looking back now, do you think Andy Haynes was given an unfair chance here?
Yeah, I have maintained that for a long time. I think Andy got a tough shake his entire time in Pittsburgh. Like, I think it was ridiculous that people were calling for his head in like mid-season 2022. It's like, because he couldn't make Cole Tucker and Hoy Park into, everyday starters, what do you want from this guy? And then in 23, I saw a lot of the progress with, I have the benefit of, being around the ballpark and the team and seeing I just saw that progress in 23 with, Reynolds, with Hayes, with guys like that. And then 24 came around and there just wasn't the same credibility in my eyes. And I don't think it was a fault through Andy's, for that. And I think that hurt the offense and made the change. And I don't know. I think he got a very tough deal. I think that guy, again, I have the benefit of being able to talk to Andy, for those 3 years. I saw a guy who was pouring himself into this job, who was smart, talking to people around the league. They all kind of thought like if you put all 30 hitting coaches in a room, he'd be somewhere in the range of 10 to 12 or 10 to 20 10 to 20, like in that middle tier of hitting coach, and he just wasn't given the support, that he needed at that time. So I think that was a rough deal for him.
I disagree. I thought Haynes stunk.
That's a fair opinion too.
At the end of the day, like, if you don't do your job, like if Alex writes terrible articles, Alex is getting fired. Andy Haynes was the hitting coach of a terrible offense. He got fired. And I'm sure, and I think a lot of what you said though, Alex, is probably true. Like, he's probably a good hitting coach, or I'm sure he knows a lot of ball. He was with a team that didn't have much talent, obviously, but I didn't see enough improvement from guys we needed to see improvement from. So I think both can be true for sure.
That's fair. But I mean, we look at guys like...
It didn't fit here.
Yeah, look at Henry Davis. He hasn't hit up at the major league level the way that he needs to. And like, there are other guys, and that was part of the job description all along, that you needed to have. This is going to be part developmental. There are going to be guys coming up from AAA, and Pirates just have not really developed many hitters like that. Like, someone please correct me if I'm wrong, with the exception of Nick Gonzalez, who has really come through the system that has hit at the major league level consistently.
No correction needed.
Yeah.
O'Neal Cruz?
Fair. Cruz.
Like, if we're playing, like, he's on the level of Gonzalez, but it's not good enough.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I say this also as, a Chief Cruz, for lack of a better word, defender, because I do see the immense talent. I will say he is not reaching that right now.
Yeah.
No.
Agreed.
Where Gonzalez, I think there's still more development. He can continue to get better, but this is kind of what we thought he'd be. He'd be the 700, 800 OPS guy in the middle infield.
Yeah, I mean, I have no issues with his bat at all.
Yeah,
right.
No.
Cool. So I guess the next big topic, obviously, again, we talked Hayes in that situation here. Just in totality, you bring up Triolo. There certainly is the argument where Triolo is like dollar store or Team U, whatever you want to call it, like Ke'Bryan Hayes. Like, he's much cheaper, but like you mentioned, he's a Gold Glover. He's a light bat, but a really good defense. Like, it's like almost Ke'Bryan Hayes, but cheaper. Maybe a little bit less of a drop off, and for that point of a drop off, is it really worth to keep Ke'Bryan Hayes, right? But I think on the other side is like, but there's also an opportunity to really advance and get better than Ke'Bryan Hayes, right? You're saving that payroll. Well, they also traded David Bednar. They've made some moves here that apparently they're potentially non-tendering Bailey Falter. All in all, regardless, giving some credit to Ethan as well. He put out there the 2026 potential payroll by example, and it's like, and we're also hearing now too, which we've kind of been talking about, alluding to, like, payroll might not be going up next year. As a matter of fact, it could potentially go down. There's a real possibility it's going to either remain the same or potentially decrease, but I highly doubt it's going to increase. So you have a guy who's underperformed as a GM, right? In our thoughts right now to date, he's cleared up some space, right? This guy giving him an opportunity to improve, right? Do you think that there's enough here to work with to make that next step? Were these moves validated in a sense? And then also, I think the next point is, does this still mean Mitch Keller's on the block this offseason, or does this also maybe save Mitch Keller because you're able to save money elsewhere?
I mean, we're going to hear Mitch Keller trade rumors regardless of what happens. Like, even if the Pirates go into the winter with the mindset of, okay, we want to keep him, other teams are going to inquire. Like, you don't ask that much at the trade deadline and then that winter be like, no, actually, we're going to keep him the whole way. This is not a discussion point. So there are going to be rumors that come out. If I had to take a guess, I think he would be traded this offseason for that more financial flexibility, just looking at their rotation and everything. But, whenever you trade a controllable arm like Bailey Falter, that's, I guess, a little less of a guarantee because, I mean, bird in the hand right there. Like, wouldn't you want a guy like Mitch Keller in the middle of your rotation if you were going to compete next year, especially whenever everyone else could be pre-art, like Bubba, Jared Jones, Paul, in whether it's Barco or whoever, Mike Burrows, whoever. Like, you could build a rotation of that's cost like $23 million with 18 of that going to Mitch Keller. Like, they are in a good spot with that right now. So I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that they trade him. Look, there is a way that the Pirates, I could see the Pirates being competitive in 26 and doing this. They're going to have to make moves that they haven't in the past. Whether that is being like, you know what, Suarez is going to probably sign for something close to Christian Walker money. We're just going to go all in on one big free agent, and we're not going to have like the 4 or 5 guys that we normally do. We're going to go from dollar store to the dime meat at the Quickie Mart, for whatever minor league free agents, to fill out the 4th outfielder and stuff like that. But we are going to have a legitimate dude in the middle of this lineup. And I think that's what this lineup needs. They need dudes right now. So whether that's free agency, whether that's trading top prospects, and I don't know how many of those top prospects are really available because Bubba's not going to be touched. Connor Griffin's not going to be touched. And I don't know how much like a Hunter Barco has trade value because of the injury,
Right.
how much a Tamar Johnson has, because he's just kind of been good, not great offensively. And there are other, concerns surrounding, the defense or whatever. There is a path, but it is going to you need to throw off your back foot this winter. And if there is ever a winner, in my opinion, to throw off your back foot, it is the winner where you know how much you're paying Paul Skeens one more time. It's one more year where Paul Skeens is pre-arb. You are stealing money. That's just the way contracts are structured right now. You are getting an incredible return on investment. This is a dollar scratcher that you won $20,000 on. This is the best case scenario that you can hope for. Maximize it. Don't just spend the $20,000 on McChickens. like live it up.
Nothing wrong with that. However,
Yeah,
I
nothing wrong with
love a
that.
McChicken, but if I won $20K, my first meal isn't going to be Mickey D's.
Mine might.
My second meal isn't going to be Mickey D's.
So what you're saying is the first move happening is re-signing Tommy Pham, then they're going after Suarez.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
They might go get a 5-layer burrito first.
Ooh.
I said they need runs, not the runs.
Alex, real quick, I do have one more
Nice.
question. What are the odds that we see Bubba Chandler next week or the week after? Within the next 2 weeks?
Reasonably high. Like I'm making a trip to Bradenton this weekend, and I didn't cancel it because I don't think Bubba's coming up this weekend. So I'll leave it at that. But I do think he'll be up in the majors, unless he goes through like another June swoon or whatever. I think we're at the point where you look at the rotation, and it's looking like it's going to be a bullpen game Saturday. They need a guy up here. It can't be Oviedo for a few turns through the rotation. I'm eyeball.
But
Bubba Chandler
Alex,
watches
though,
on
they
Orange
have to
Alert
keep
for
him
me.
down right now. Like, they have to keep him down to maintain that rookie
well,
eligibility. I feel
I
like
don't know what that date is. I know it's close.
It's like a weekish away, really, right? I mean, it's already
Yeah.
the 6th.
Yeah, you cannot call him up now. You have to keep him down.
I mean, at this point,
Yeah.
At this point, I kind of agree. Like you've
I kind
gone
of
this
feel
far.
bullpen game, then Bubba next turn. That's how I'm thinking.
That's what I'm
Back of the envelope math. If you do bullpen game, you have an off day, so everyone can just stick on like a regular 5-day rotation, and then that's kind of whenever the Orange Alert goes to red. That's not insider knowledge. That is me reading how a rotation works. So
Fair. So Alex says inside information.
yes,
If you
Bubba
go,
will
if you
be
want to place any bets on FanDuel for Bubba Chandler starts, Alex Stumpf says next spot in the rotation.
Alex
Very
is
clear
100%
insider
confident
information.
he will not be up this week.
This is why you go
Biblical.
on Buffalo first. I'll be
Biblical,
honest.
Ty-Ty.
Yeah, I get it.
you know how many times I get biblical as like a message anymore?
I love it. Locusts everywhere.
I'm just happy we have Alex in a good mood because he got to see Justice finally.
I did. He's
I know,
doing
it's
great,
nice seeing
guys.
Alex smile.
He asked me what's better around PNC Park nowadays, and I said, well, the MLB.com reporter.
Ooh, facts.
You didn't have to lie to our
Facts.
poor fella.
Great seeing you guys. I'm out.
Well, to be honest, yeah, I know you want to keep you too long here, but was there anything else you wanted to throw at Alex here, Ty?
No, we can let him go live his life with his cowboy hat.
There you go.
Darn tootin'.
Darn soon. Well, Alex, as always, we love having you on. It was a good time. Wish we could have you on longer, but you spent all your podcast hours already.
Yeah, I need a nap.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys.
We'll see you. We'll see you, buddy. Bye
Appreciate
bye.
you, Alex. What a guy.
All right. So now we can really talk shit on him.
Yeah, thank God.
God,
That was
he's
so much
terrible. Such
I
a
miss
propagandist.
Justice so much.
I know, right? Justice was awesome.
He was.
Just joking. We love Alex. The good part is he'll never hear that because there's no chance he's listening back to the show.
None.
But anyways, yeah. So I mean, pretty good insight there, I guess. It's just how much do you trust a lot of it to happen too?
I don't.
I'm nervous as hell, man. We know we were nervous with Ben handling the deadline. You saw the deadline. We've had. Has it been a week already?
Yeah. Well, Thursday was
Almost, huh? It's like 6 days. Wow,
Yeah.
that feels like it was like 2 days ago. Jeez. Anyways, I'm gonna say like we've had some time to kind of sit on it longer than I thought we had. Yeah, man. So I don't know. I don't know. Again, like hearing him and now hearing the product come out, which again, it's kind of something we've alluding to. Like attendance is down 15%. So I've been kind of talking about like I don't expect payroll to go up. I don't really expect it to remain the same. Like I'm kind of expecting it. Now it can remain the same, and I'll say, okay, makes sense. It's not the right thing, but like at least it's that. But like I'm kind of anticipating it to decrease. So like a lot of these moves, clearing up space, like in this scheme of freeing up money to reset, like it makes sense. It's not. I'm not here advocating saying that was the right move and all these were the right move, but like it makes sense. Like you're kind of stuck. Like this team's already kind of peaked. It's at its cap. Like you saw what this team can do, and here's what they're doing. It ain't working. So maybe trading some of these guys, getting new blood in here, having more resources available to you to make that in some sense makes sense for Ben, and maybe that makes sense for him to keep his job.
Man, it just doesn't. Like it doesn't. It doesn't make sense for Ben to keep his job at this point. It doesn't.
Well, that doesn't make sense. But it makes sense if I'm Ben trying to keep my job. It makes sense for me to sell this.
Now, granted, what kind of slightly I think makes sense is with the CBA coming up in 2027 and the Pirates selling everything off, like I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on instead of Alex's cowboy hat. It does, like, if you squint hard enough, you can see them maybe spending a little more next year and then thinking, well, the following year, we won't have to pay anybody. So who cares? And if we do have to pay someone, we'll just trade them all.
So you're signing everyone to 2-year deals. So that way you don't have to pay it in 2027.
I mean, if you actually want to pay people, yes, you have to sign them for more than 1 year.
Right. But I'm saying
Nobody
2 years.
is taking a 1 year. But yeah.
So like we're going to maximize this. We're going to give you 2-year, $50 million. We're going to backload it. It's going to be $10 million this year, 40 next, and then
I don't know if you get away with backloading them, but
sorry guys, the CBA came about and we couldn't pay you.
Yeah, we could not foresee this one.
Yeah, didn't see this coming.
Like, I mean, like that's my tinfoil hat opinion right now, but I don't even think that's true. I don't know. I honestly just don't know. There were reports probably about a week before the trade deadline that the Pirates kind of seemed like they didn't really know what direction they were going. It's
shocking, I know.
Fully that way. They got no clue right now. Like, it almost feels like they want to rebuild again, but they need to go for it.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you next here too. Are they essentially rebuilding? Maybe retool might be the best, but like, I mean, have they hit the retool section right now?
I mean, like, they don't have a farm. They really don't. It's okay.
It's very top heavy. Like they have Bubba and Connor, 2 top 10 prospects. Like that. I mean, that's good, right? That is solid. And Bubba and Connor look every bit of good prospects. But it does fall. It's not very deep as far as like,
Oh,
it's deep in the sense of there's players, but like impactful players. I'm not totally sure it's there. I mean, again, like the Tamars, are we really betting on him to be an impactful player? I'm not sure. Right? The Hunter Barcos, the I mean Thomas Harrington still like he's kind of regressed
right.
this year. Like not really what I was hoping him to become. So yeah.
Yeah, like you said, there are definitely like top heavy pieces. But we could have said there were top heavy pieces like 2 years ago. Like Henry
Mhm.
Davis looked like he was pretty. Andy Rodriguez looked pretty. Didn't work because they can't develop them. They
Yeah.
can't. And now it looks like there's less talent than there was then.
And like naturally you would assume that to be. The problem is that talent that graduated hasn't become it. Like it's not helping out in the major league level either. Outside, like Alex said, like Nick Gonzalez has turned into a very capable player,
He's
right?
been a
I mean,
pleasant
it's not
surprise.
what he was advertised during the draft, but it's working out.
Mhm.
It's different, but if he was giving you this type of production, being a batting title contender type of player with less power and whatever, like again, like I think production wise, it's
Yeah.
about what you would have hoped to expect. Any type of drafted player. So like I'm fine with that. But yeah, like outside of that, it's really been nothing. And also with the ND stuff, I mean, I'm not even sure if you know about the news today that came out, but for others too, he's going to go back to seeing the doctor that did his surgery next week, and I don't like any bit of that. Doesn't mean it's doom and gloom, but I just don't like hearing that.
Yeah. Yeah. The Indy train's kind of done a little bit. He's kind of on that Rowanzi path.
Oh,
Yeah, that sucks to hear, but he's kind of on that path at this point.
it's just like it's not that I don't believe the talent's there, but he hasn't been able to stay on the field. And also, you can't really develop and hone in on that talent if you're not available on the field. He was out for a whole year.
Right.
Now, I mean, he's basically out for this whole year. And whatever the news is coming back, I don't know what it means for next year. Like, time's ticking.
Yeah.
It's been ticking.
At that point, like it's hard to roster him. We're running out of options here. You've been injured so long. Your arm's an issue, and you play a position that very heavily relies on the arm, and the bat's not good enough to really play first base. Yeah, it sucks because we're all rooting for him really hard. We really need him to be what we thought he would be, but yeah, it just sucks. Look,
Does.
I like Andy. He's fun, but to this point, it hasn't worked.
No. And again, when we talk about Henry Davis, like that hasn't really worked. The glove has really come along for him, and we talked time and time about that, and rightfully so. The glove has tremendously improved, but he's advertised the bat. I mean, the only thing you knew that you were getting from Henry Davis, and again, you absolutely knew this is like the most can't miss. I mean, he was going to have a bat. Dude was going to hit. And that's the one thing that he can't do.
As I
you know,
I
it's awful. Again, like Jared Triolo has a higher OPS than Henry Davis. Like that's where we're at.
Yeah, Hank's been bad. Hank is almost unplayable with his bat.
Yeah. So again, you're talking about Andy, Henry, Joey Bart. We know has his limitations, and again, like he's turned. Keep saying it, like he's like basically Chris Stewart with the bat. Like the power's absolutely gone. He's a singles machine when he is hitting, but Chris Stewart at least had a very, very capable glove. More than capable, it was an excellent glove. Joey Bart doesn't have that. It's a bad glove. So much so that like also it was reported yesterday, he's taking reps at first base, which like I don't mind that. That's something we've talked about I think we've questioned for some years, like, well, I guess not really years. He's only been here for like a year and a few months, technically, but out last offseason to this year or such. Like, why is he maybe taking reps at first? That kind of makes sense, especially with Henry and Andy there, getting those guys at bats in this field and such. It makes sense that he is, but you talk about unrosterable players like Andy, and it's like, I don't know if Joey Bart's a solution at catcher. Now, it just might be because the position is so bad, but it's not really like a solution at catcher. And it seemed like it was reported there was trade value. There was teams that were interested in Joey Bart, but their interest was only as a bench guy. It's not like, hey, we need a backup catcher. It's like, no, he's not a catcher. He's a bench guy. And with him playing first base, now the platoon splits make sense, but are you rostering Joey Bart to be the short side of a first base platoon and just a bad backup catcher? I don't know if he's here next year, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult because Joey Bart last year, if he can perform like that at the plate, you take that 10 out of 10 times for the price tag you're paying on him.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I believe that is Joey Bart. We're going to see how this shakes out, I think, throughout the rest of the year. I don't know if I really want to give an opinion on him yet, because he did have a really good year last year, and he was capable enough behind the plate that coming into this year, I had almost zero question about Joey Bart being the everyday catcher. Almost zero question. He's been bad enough that you have to wait and see how this shakes out throughout the rest of the year. And if this continues that he's playing like he is right now, I'm with you. You're going to have to either upgrade that or something's going to have to give there. You're going to have to go get a catcher or maybe play the one you traded for.
No, absolutely. I mean, like, his saving grace right now is the fact that Andy might be having other surgery. And even if not, like, he hasn't proved anything. Henry Davis just simply proves still like he can't hit. He might, again, his saving grace is the fact that, like, well, by default, I'm still at least number one or number two in this team. But I don't know. That you can find someone maybe more capable and that gets him out of there, right? Because again, that's what I'm alluding to. Like, I don't really know. I'm not ready to write him off either, Tyler. But the guy was DFA'd.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he was DFA'd. If anything, last year proves to be the anomaly. If anything. Now last year was a large enough sample size. You can't really fake power.
Right.
Like, especially at PNC Park. It's maybe in New York you can to some degree, but like, you really can't fake power typically, again, especially at PNC Park. And he hit 12 home runs. Like, he was pretty clutch last year. And, I know, like, you felt the bat was going to come down. Like, the metrics told you it's going to come down a bit. But again, like, I think it was like a 120 weighted runs created plus, something to that realm, maybe 112, 120. If that's a league average bat, it's more than capable as a catcher position, right? So, like, it could come down and you're still okay with it. But again, we're talking like the power is completely gone. He still walks a bit, but like, just he doesn't look like an offensive player. And again, he's not a defensive player. So, and if the offense, if like that's what you are, is like a singles guy, is really first base also like your calling card to move off of to save a roster spot on a short side of a platoon? I don't know, man. It's not looking too good for Joey Bart. Now, I know the price tag's not going to be extremely high, obviously, but that's still more funds you could use to reinvest into something else potentially. I mean, let me ask you this. Would you rather have Henry Davis and throw something at the wall behind home plate and recoup that probably $2 million from Bart into something else, or have Bart on this roster still for next year?
So, yeah, there's been no power out of Joey Bart, but also, like, he's still like 9% below average. He's just, a good bit of it, I think, is that there's no power. Like, as our tribal chief Roman Reigns says, exactly, no pop. Yeah, I had to do a wrestling thing there, but we're still a 91 weighted runs created plus. The problem is that he's so bad defensively. He's a terrible defensive catcher.
Right.
And the offense just isn't good enough to play first base.
Right.
Like, if you have a 91 weighted runs created plus at first base, you're in trouble. That's not good enough.
That Rowdy was there.
Yeah. And that sucked.
Like, that's what he was. I feel like, let me look him up.
Rowdy was up around that number, though, probably by July.
Yeah, he was at a 90. He was at a 90 with the Pirates. Like, the 10-year ended, he ended at a 90 weighted runs created plus. So there you go. That's Rowdy territory. But the difference is it's not power. it's singles.
So I think we run into this problem, or at least like mentality-wise as Pirates fans, we run into this issue where guys who are just completely okay, we give them the biggest pass in the world and think that they're fine here because we see so much bad. Joey Bart should be improved upon. Like, the guys in the corner out, like even Brian Hayes, should be improved upon. 1 to 2 WAR type of player with that bad of a bat should be improved upon. Joey Bart should be. Everything they've trotted out there, even Rowdy last year, that should be improved upon. Hell, Tommy Pham should be improved upon. You shouldn't strive for league average. We get in this weird mentality, and it's not our fault, obviously. We're not controlling any of this, and nothing we really can say will matter. But those guys get a pass from us, and they're just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Fine doesn't win you playoff games. Tommy Pham being good for a while, yeah, that's great. Sure. That doesn't win you playoff games. Joey Bart being a 9% below average catcher at the plate does not win you playoff games. Spencer Horwitz does not win you playoff games. You got to strive to be better.
Yeah, like the one thing I just want to stay here, and I know you're oversimplifying and you're correct to the degree, but it can if that's just the only player, like a Brian Hayes, perfect example. Like, if the Reds take off, that offense gets to where it needs to be, like, they could potentially be able to roster Brian Hayes because that could help their pitching out tremendously. You have De La Cruz, like, you have some offense around. I know it's underperforming this year, but again, like we talk about the Yankees, like the Yankees could absolutely roster one of those guys. Yeah. The thing is, like, you can roster one of them. You can't have a team that's mostly made up of them. And that's what we find ourselves have the problem with.
Yeah, there's too much, I guess, striving for mediocrity, I see. Not like just from the organization. It seems like they're just constantly looking for average and praying that those guys who, like a Paul Skeens, like a Brian Reynolds, like an O'Neal Cruz, you're praying that they can become complete difference makers. And when they don't, and then the other guys who aren't average turn out to be pumpkins, here we are.
Yeah, well.
Can we just maybe quickly go back to the Nunnally discussion with Alex? We kind of just skipped over that, but I feel like that's a big deal So Alex is giving Andy Haynes credit there. The Pirates obviously fired Jon Nunnally after some reports came out that Nunnally was working with Brian Hayes. Alex did kind of shut that down, that wasn't the reason for it. And I feel like that's been pushed pretty heavily, that Jon Nunnally was fired because he was working with Brian Hayes. I was kind of stumped that tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it basically just seemed like he was just fired because he wasn't good at his job. And the fact that the whole Nunnally thing has been just blown out of proportion.
Is that not a microcosm of this organization right now, where that entire story just shouldn't have been a big deal? It's so dysfunctional inside Federal Street that we're firing AA hitting coaches And it's becoming a giant story because the third baseman that couldn't hit a baseball finally hit a baseball for a half a year. If
To
that
be
is not
fair,
just like the entire story of this organization, I don't know what else is.
yeah. And what I want to say here is, and to be fair, which also, again, this isn't putting blame on what I'm about to say. This isn't putting blame on you all. It's done because of what we've all gone through. But everything's blown out. Like, everything's a story. It doesn't matter. I mean, do you remember? I don't remember the guy's name now. Do you remember the Curve manager that was fired? This was like 4 years ago, and it was like, holy,
yes.
that was a huge story. And like, no one even remembers his name right now. I'm calling you out. If you're upset about it, tell me his name. Tell me his name right now, right? Nobody knows. Nobody knows, right? We're all everything's grand scale. And again, I get it, because a lot of the thing is, like, the Pirates typically do the wrong thing all the time. That's why they don't win games. I mean, you can't argue that, like, no, they are smart and they do the right things all the time. If they did, they wouldn't be here. If they did, they wouldn't have, how many was it, 31 losing seasons now in the past 35 years? Is that what it is? Is that what we're on now, Tyler? I can't remember exactly, but again, like
31. They've had 4 winning seasons, so 27 out of 31 at least.
Jim, you Googled it. Shut up. Michael Ryan. But anyways, right. Like, if they're allowed and afforded the benefit of the doubt, then so be it. But they've kind of proven they're not. So yeah, everything's typically blown out of scale. And again, that's because of them also. So again, I'm not blaming everyone for blowing things out of proportion. We tend to a lot of times. And yes, the whole Nunnally thing was at first, but also, like, understand it too. It's like, what was going on? I mean, the report you heard at first was that Nunnally fixed them. And then it seemed as if, well, now there's this backlash coming, and you got to choose. You got to choose one. Is it going to be your man Andy Haynes, or is it going to be Nunnally? And we're gonna fire Nunnally. And to all the point too, like, since then, Cabrine hasn't been hitting, so a lot of people can still identify, like, well, it was Nunnally. But the fact is, he's been his personal hit, like, he's been his hitting coach, like, personally, like, working with him on the side for years. Like, it's nothing different now than what it was then and what it was before then. So, good friend of the family. He's been helping him this entire time. Like, nothing was different. The only thing that was different was he wasn't getting paid by the Pirates. He was getting paid by players that are paying him for hitting advice.
Yeah. It came down to the fact that Cabrine Hayes couldn't hit a baseball. That was it.
Like, yeah, which, again, a lot to do with his back, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but, like, it is what it is.
Yeah. And, like, yeah, we probably made a big-ish deal of it. And hand up, I'm part of it as well. Like, I was one of those people that was complaining that they fired Nunnally. But, yeah.
But also given the facts that you're handed at the time.
Right. And at this point, yeah, it seems like Cabrine Hayes just can't hit. And health-wise, it's probably a big part of it, but yeah, he can't hit. Like, plain and simple, the guy can't hit. He's not going to hit in Cincinnati. I'm okay with him being gone. I just wanted to add that again.
And I'm also okay. I don't believe he's going to be the 800 OPS guy. I also don't believe he's going to be like the 700 OPS guy that Alex would do. Maybe the 600s. But again, that's where we're going at. Maybe the 600s, but there's still clear value there. But like, I could see him becoming a better hitter there for 2 reasons. It is a bit better of a ballpark, although his profile doesn't scream to me like, oh, well, now he's just going to mash home runs there. Sure, he'll hit a few more, right? He'll hit a few more, but it's not as if he's going from 6 a year to 20, right? He's going like from 6 a year to maybe 10. So, okay, now he's a 600 OPS guy. All right, great, fantastic. But I think like it's not just the ballpark, but it also could just be different and better because like just giving a fresh start, maybe it's a new voice, a new whatever. Because you see that, and there's trust issues, I'm sure, right? And they're telling you, it's back to the Tyler Glasnow thing, right? If they're telling you, and it's just that voice that you don't resonate, you don't trust. The next person tells you the same thing, but it's a different voice, and it's like, oh, you know what? I see what you're doing here. I actually trust you. Let me start listening to this, right? There could be that. And if it works out for him there, fine. It's not going to work out here. They did recoup some value, but this does give them $7 million plus to hopefully do something with. Again, Hopefully. That's the biggest thing about this Brian Hayes trade for me is it happened. I'm okay with it happening. What matters is what they do next.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me is that I don't have to read his family tweet anymore. But apparently,
Are you sure? Because that
no,
hasn't
they're
stopped.
still doing it. They're
You
still
seen
going.
our IG page?
Yeah, they're still going.
Right. Yeah.
So, like, that alone is sign enough that it was time to go.
Right.
Like, both parties needed to move on. And one party still does need to move on.
Yeah. Well, it is funny because I didn't even remember this, but talking to Alex, like, yeah, they play the Reds tomorrow. Like, he's back in town. He can't get away for a week. Can't even get away for a week. He's back in town. Brian Hayes returns to PNC Park already.
Yeah, he took a 7-day vacation.
I know, right? I was like, Jesus, you're right. He's here again tomorrow. Are they gonna have a video for him? Do you think?
No.
Two reasons I ask. One, maybe there's multiple, but it's so fresh, like just so fresh right now. Like, it hasn't like really sat. And for two, do they even know he's returning yet?
Probably not.
They might have not realized that this is happening right now. I was like, oh shit, now we got to get on that. Yeah, I'll be interested to find out if there's like anything. There's like a tribute video for Brian Hayes or whatnot.
Yeah, I'm gonna doubt it.
He gets too much hate. I will say that he gets too much hate. I understand why. He gets a little too much hate. That glove is tremendous. It's tremendous. But it's just not the right fit.
One of the best defensive third basemen I've ever seen.
One of the best defenders.
Yeah, probably.
Honestly.
Also at the same time, one of the worst hitters I've ever seen.
Correct. That's why he's so polarizing. And you can put stats on the hitting. You can't really put stats on the glove, right? They don't flash on the scoreboard when Paul Skeens is up to pitch it. And you say, Brian Hayes has a blah, blah, blah. No, you don't see that.
Yeah.
But anyways, but again, like just kind of like back to this team, right? Like I don't really know what direction they're going on. It's been 5 years. We'll be heading to year 6 with Ben Cherington. I mean, do we know if he has it? Like, does he have a vision right now for this team? Or is he just trying to clear up as much to then is he trying to figure things out now? Is it like, hey, I got this off the books. Now let me try to figure out what the hell I'm going to do.
So I think if Ben Cherington is brought back next year, and I think it does depend on how the rest of this season shakes out. If he's brought back, he's got to go full on Neil Huntington 2013. Because if you look back to 2013,
so how much good? Of that?
But the way you build your team, because if you look back at it, how much of that were guys that Neil Huntington brought in? Andrew McCutchen was a Dave Littlefield draftee. Neil Walker, Dave Littlefield. Starling Marte, Dave Littlefield.
Mm-hmm.
All you had was Pedro, basically, of guys you drafted, and maybe Jordy Mercer as well, but he was still kind of a bench guy at that point. It was guys he found in the free agent market who outperformed, or he found some sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? We wrote a book about it, but whatever. You look for guys that you could capitalize on things that other teams were not, I guess.
The inefficiency?
Value. Thank you. My God, that word just escaped me tonight. But they found inefficiencies with these free agents. The Russell Martins. I mean, hell, even Travis Snyder had a good year. AJ Burnett, Francisco Liriano. And we've seen Ben Cherington do that with pitching. But you got to find those hitters who, and not to the Burnett and Liriano extent, but we've seen him do well.
No. Right. I wasn't rolling my eyes by that by any means.
He's got to find, he's tried to do it, I think, with some position players like the Tommy Phams, the Spencer Horwitz types of guys. You've got to find guys that can hit a baseball, and you got to do it cheap. Because that's a lot of it. You got to be able to find those inefficiencies. To this point, he has not shown me anything that makes me believe he can do that. That's the only way this team gets good next year. It's not coming from within. It's not. And it's not coming from a big free agent spending offseason. That's not happening either. You need a guy like a Tommy Pham to play like he is right now the entire season. You need a guy like Rowdy Tellez to play like he did in June and July all season. That's the only way this works. Those guys have to be really good for an entire year. Other than that, they're going to be bad again.
So the reason I rolled my eyes is you are correct, and that is absolutely true about Huntington. And I think we've certainly said it here. It's not like Huntington home grew a lot of talent. Like you had to have some, of course. The ones that you did, Andrew McCutcheon, right? Like that helps. Well, hey, there's a Paul Skeens, like the same concept, right? But what made Neil Huntington good? Obviously, he was able to just get relievers right and left. I mean, it didn't matter whose name was on the jersey, what number at that point in time in your career was on your jersey. He was able to go get relievers and turn them into something and then flip them and keep it going, right? But that's not really what did it. It's like you said, in 13, he had a plan. That's what I want to say. When I roll my eyes, in my point of view, like you are correct, there's inefficiencies, but he had a plan of what he wanted to get, and he found the inefficiencies there. Yeah. That to me was a huge difference. He came into 2023 and said to Clint Hurdle, 2013, sorry. I wish it was 2023. Right. He came into 13, and the thing is too, like it was a complete buy-in on the team. Everybody, except for probably AJ Burnett, bought into this, right? But he had a plan. He said, believe me. He went out and got the guys that he needed to fit and work with his plan, and it worked. Again, the takeaway, though, he had a plan.
Yeah.
I don't know what the plan is. Now, to maybe Ben's credit in this sense, and is something we've talked about as well, I don't know if you're fine. Like, analytics were so new then to some level that you could find holes and gaps and like, hey, they're not looking at this. Like pitch framing really wasn't a thing, you know, like what Russell Martin did. And you see it because of the change in WAR, you know, even the sites are like, oh, this is a lot of value in here. And, you know, Russell Martin's WAR just like shoots up because like, yeah, that was value we're all missing. Right. He had a plan. He went and identified it because you didn't really have like those holes. But now everyone's looking for everything. So that's what we talked about. Like, what is the next thing? I'm not sure if we're ever going to find anything to that level. So I don't know if Ben really has this huge, wide mistaken thing that no one's looking at that he can just say, boom, let's go get that. But there has to be some type of plan going into this offseason. You have to say, here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to identify. Here's what we're going to do to win. And do it. It can't just be like, I can only spend $4 million in an outfielder. Mm-hmm. So, Pham, you up?
So, bear with me as I slightly ramble a little bit here, because something I've kind of started to pay a little bit of attention to.
Sure.
The Pirates, for the last couple years here, if you look at their expected weighted on base average compared to their actual weighted on base average, it looks like they are one of the most unlucky teams in the league every single year. So I guess my question
is that what they're doing? They're identifying people that are unlucky. Oh, you have bad luck. You're a Pirate.
Like, I think there's something to that, but also like, I question if there's something they're going after that's just not working.
Okay.
Because it doesn't make sense to me that this many players are underperforming what their expected numbers should be. Like you look at O'Neal Cruz, even
that's fair.
Brian
Reynolds,
Hayes, O'Neal Cruz, Reynolds, Valdez, Henry Davis is another one. Like you go up and down the lineup. I think the only person not overperforming is Peguero at this point. Nick Gonzalez is about at where he should be, I think. And you go back to last year as well, it's very similar. Nobody really plays to what these stats say they should be. And granted, there might be something to be said about maybe the expected stats aren't as good as we think they should be. Like maybe they need to retool that and there's a problem there. But to me, it doesn't make sense that this many players 2 years in a row are underperforming what they are quote unquote expected to be based on the analytics. So are you going after something wrong? Are you teaching something wrong? There's some sort of disconnect, in my opinion, here. Or at least just looking at this, there's something off.
Okay. That is interesting. I didn't actually think about that in that way. I mean, we haven't talked about too much, I feel like, recently, but certainly more at the beginning of the year into like the Mays and maybe Junes about unlucky hitters. And yeah, like Brian, if you want to go as far as expected numbers and expected, right? In the terms of the unluckiest, Brian Reynolds is the 7th unluckiest hitter in baseball. Cruz is the 37th unluckiest hitter. Kutch is the 42nd unluckiest hitter. Bart is the 76th. So again, I mean, we're talking Spencer Horwitz, 102. That's what, 6 in the top 100, basically. You know, like there's 30 teams. So maybe like you're onto something there.
Yeah, I guess I just question, are you teaching something that's just not working? Because for this amount of guys to be this quote unquote unlucky, I can't imagine it's just all happening in Pittsburgh. I just don't know what it is.
Reynolds hasn't been good. It is certainly one of his worst years. The strikeouts are up. But again, like his WOBA is 295. His expected is 348. We look at guys who have an actual like 348, like Gleyber Torres, 351, Corey Seager, 351. Like that's like he's expected to be performing at about their level in general. But it is a lot of players. I didn't realize how many actually are on this list now.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And it was the same way last year. I think there was a second worst in terms of, and I guess this time around, this year it's going to fluctuate a little bit. There's still 24th worst in terms of, I guess, unluckiness. Last year, I think they were second in terms of that. So I almost think there has to be something internally that they're teaching hitting wise or there's something that is attracting this problem. Because it doesn't make sense that this many guys are underperforming, both of what we expect from them and what the stats expect from them.
Right.
That's just something I think to keep an eye on a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know the answer. I don't, but there's something wrong.
If we did, because again, it shouldn't be expected for us to know the answer. Because again, if we did, we'd probably be on Federal Street right now.
Yeah, I'd be a lot richer.
Getting paid not tons of money, but enough money for us to fix that team. But again, I
do it for free.
A good call out.
I would do it for free.
I know, right? Do it for the brand. Tyler, we're just starving to be good.
Happiness.
Just figure this out and tell it for free.
Yeah, if I knew, I'd fix it. I promise.
Right. But no, that is interesting. But again, this all comes back to that's to me the biggest difference between 13 Huntington, like you're talking about, and this entire tenure, like with Cherington. Like I've yet to almost see a plan. This is what we're going to do. The closest thing to a plan I've seen is, does he throw a slider? Right? Like that's the closest thing to any type of plan that I see. When a guy gets DFA'd, I immediately go to his slider, right? It's the sweeper. Like what's that look like? And I'm like, pirate. Right? And it happens. I mean, Justin Lawrence was, I even said it. I said, actually, in jest was like, for the hair alone, it needs to be. But that dude's a pirate. And then the week later, he's a pirate. Of course he was. You know, so like that's the closest thing I see to a plan. And to his credit, like you're talking about, like also like I don't see like the AJs and Lirianos that you're mentioning, but like yes, they have done a good job identifying pitchers and turning them around. Dennis Santana, a perfect example right now. But that can't be the end all be all. Like there has to be an organizational plan, not just like, hey, we know how to perfect pitchers that throw a slider.
Yeah, and I mean, like, that was a plan that worked. And then I think at one point we saw them kind of have a plan of when Dan Vogelbach came in, and it seemed like they were getting guys that saw a lot of pitches, and that didn't work. It didn't end up working. But right now, the last
the
like
Andy
2
Haynes
years,
tenure.
it just doesn't seem like there's a plan. I'm with you. Like,
Yeah.
or at least the plan's not very visible, or it hasn't been implemented well enough.
Yep. And once again, I think if anything that shows us about how this team is as far as a plan, this trade deadline showed it. And word's getting out that they had no plan. So, like, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I guess the last thing to wrap this up before we get out of here, and we will get out of here. But what do we want to see the rest of the year? Like, I know there isn't like this abundance amount of talent in AAA, and it's not like the guys are just dying to get up here because they're play, right? But like, are we going to see the Yorks, the Cooks? This is what are we doing? Again, a plan.
And like
2026 is next year. You have an off season coming up. Like, are you planning on seeing them? Or are you planning on finding anything out at the major league level with them? I
mean, like for simple things, I think you want to see Bubba Chandler, obviously. And I think another guy you need to see is Johan Oviedo.
Yeah.
I need to know if I can be comfortable trading Mitch Keller in the offseason. Right now, I'm not. Because next year, you have Paul Skeens. And then what?
Well, not Andrew Heaney, because he'll be gone. Not Bailey Falter, because he's traded. Yeah.
You have question marks.
Jared Jones will be on the mend, hopefully coming back middle of the year. Bubba Chandler, you're still unsure of. Johan Oviedo, you're kind of unsure of.
I want to see more Mike Burrows. I want to see Ashcraft.
I was going to say Burrows is kind of a mix right now. Mm-hmm. I'm still trending on I could see him for next year, but we still have 2 more months. Like let's see that through. There's an Ashcraft who's been in the bullpen this whole time. Mm-hmm. He's looked good there, but he's a potential guy for a starter. Again, Harrington, you haven't really seen it in AAA so much either. So I'm not here for argument that he needs to be in the majors, but to your point, like this strength is quickly turning into, I'm not saying a weakness. It might not be, but it's certainly uncertain. It's certainly uncertain. That's a quote card tomorrow. It is certainly uncertain.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I think that's what you're kind of counting on seeing the rest of the year is you need to see if what you picture as your strength can be the strength next year. Because offensively, I'm not looking for anything. You hope they trend upwards, but Brian Reynolds will be back. O'Neal Cruz will be back. Other than that, like you can turn the entire lineup over. Who cares? That's it. Like I need to know there's some sort of strength going into next year. Outside of that, we'll see. Like I don't. It's sad because like there's not much I'm watching right now that I can look forward to.
Right.
There's not much you're building with that's here.
I'm not saying it can't be done.
It can be done. It's just
we get and we're okay with the Brian Hayes trade. There's going to be some money. There is a potential of like, hey, you could trade Mitch Keller. You got a thumper in here because of that. Now you go out like Alex was saying and get a Suarez, and now you got a thumper there because of that. And if the pitching does work out, right, and you are able to fill out the rest of this roster with some hitting to complement those other two, thumpers, and Reynolds does come back to life, and Cruz finally, again, you've seen flashes this year. You've seen some strides this year for Hayes. And I also want to say, for the naysayers defensively in the outfield, also, he's made a lot of strides defensively. He's not perfect. He's certainly not perfect, but he also does stuff that no one else can do. You saw those 2 assists, the third and home, all within a week. That doesn't happen with anybody else, So like, you're seeing strides defensively with him also. Maybe he can take the next step. But the problem is, Tyler, what you're all alluding to is just like, I don't believe in the guy leading that to happen.
Yeah.
I just don't.
To be fair, I didn't believe in Neil Huntington coming in 2013. So maybe
I did.
I didn't. So maybe yeah.
I mean, I'll say I wasn't like, oh my God, they got Russell Martin and AJ Burnett. I mean, I kind of was like, oh, they got AJ Burnett, but not for the reasons of like, oh yeah, he's going to be a good pitcher again. It was just like, it's AJ Burnett. Signs. That's awesome.
There were at least some signs that they were trending upward.
But I was buying into what they were doing, the system.
Right.
Maybe I'm just wiser now, and maybe I'm just more jaded, but I'm just
more cynical now.
I'm not totally buying into what they're doing right now. And I also don't really know what they're doing right now. And it sounds to me nationally even that they're coming out and talking about that they don't know what they're doing right now. So maybe they just don't know what they're doing right now.
Right.
Anywho.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a fun offseason. We'll see what happens.
It's after this whole show. It's going to be a fun offseason. Let's see what happens. Well, we're going to have fun regardless.
Yeah, we'll be here.
In a small town. That's what I told. I grew up in a small town. I learned how to make fun. So doesn't matter what the Pirates are going to do outside of maybe a trade deadline day here and there for me. I'll find ways to make fun and enjoy myself.
Yeah, and
that's what we'll do this offseason.
Yeah, and I've been letting people down forever. It's about time someone else does it to me.
There you go. All right, so let's get out of here, Tyler. How's that sound?
Yeah, I think we talked enough about the Pirates tonight. But you know what? We enjoyed it so much, we'll be back with them tomorrow about it. It's me and you on the postgame tomorrow.
Oh, it is, huh? I know I was on it.
We enjoyed it so much for coming back for part 2.
Brian Hayes returns.
Brian Hayes return.
Over and under. What's your FanDuel lock on Brian Hayes' tribute videos?
Oh, 0. I'm not giving him a tribute.
It's at 0.5. Are you doing the under?
Under. FanDuel.
All right. I'll take the over just because.
All right, fair enough.
Outside of that, Ryan will have his lock tomorrow, so you can go on FanDuel. And he's even now, right? He's 3-3.
Yeah, he won today.
So look at him go. Look at our little Ryan, just chewing away. All right, We'll be back tomorrow. Post game show. Pirates take on the Reds. Bye. We'll see you then.
South Girl Scouts.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube, if you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.